students, my name is Punisha and I will be taking your class 10 biology. So let us start. Our first chapter deals with the cell. Now, have you ever asked yourself why do we even need to study about them? Let me tell you. A building is made up of bricks that we all know, and that brick is the smallest structural unit of that whole building. Without that, a building cannot stand. Likewise, all living organisms like us and all other animals are made up of cell, and that is why it is known as the structural and the functional unit of a living organism. Now, living organisms, on the basis of their content of cell, it can be divided into unicellular and multicellular. Obviously, from the word unicellular, we can understand that a body which contains only one cell is a unicellular organism, and that if it is made up of two or more than two cells, it is known as multicellular organism. Now, cells can be of different shapes and sizes. Let's first start with the size of cell. A size of cell can be so small that it can be only seen through a microscope. For example, like a bacterial cell, or it can be so large that we can easily see, that is an ostrichid. Now, let us come to the shapes again. The shape of a cell can vary a lot. It can be round, it can be thread-like, it can also be irregular in nature. Like our nerve cell is thread-like. A white blood cell is irregular in nature so that it can easily squeeze out of the capillaries. Likewise, our red blood cell is biconcave because so that it can easily squeeze out through the blood vessels. So since the cell is the building block of living organism, let us discuss about its basic structure. At first, it is bounded by a single layered membrane known as the cell membrane. It is semi-permeable in nature. Now you will ask me, what is semi-permeable? Semi-permeable means it only allows some selective substance to pass through it. There is also another covering for specifically the plant cell as the cell wall, which is specifically for the plant cell. It is an additional outer membrane over the cell membrane that helps the plant to maintain the shape and rigidity. We have to also notice that it is freely permeable in nature, that is, it allows all substances to pass through it. Remember that the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Don't forget this. Now let us come to cytoplasm. It is a semi-liquid, that is a gel-like substances that is present inside the cell. The cytoplasm contains all the other cell organelles in it. The cytoplasm contains a very important structure of the cell, which is the nucleus. Now you will ask me, what is nucleus? The nucleus is the main functioning unit of the cell. It has a double layer outer membrane known as the nuclear membrane, which is this one as you can see, or this one as you can see here. It also contains a semi-liquid substance called the nucleoplasm and a structure named the nucleoli. It also contains some thread-like structures called the chromatin fibers or the chromosomes. These chromatin fibers or the chromosomes contains genes which determines the hereditary factor. Now, don't confuse between cytoplasm and the term protoplasm. Cytoplasm, including the nucleus, is known as protoplasm, and cytoplasm without all other cell organelles is known as cytosol. Now, the nucleolus or the nucleoli present inside the nucleus helps in the storage of RNA. Now, we have heard the term cell organelles. Now, What is cell organelles? Cell organelles are the individual structures present inside the cytoplasm which helps in the enzymatic and chemical reactions within the cell. Let's first start with the first one, which is the endoplasmic reticulum or the ER. Now, the endoplasmic reticulum are of two types. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is RER, or smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is SER. The roughness of the endoplasmic reticulum is due to the presence of globule-like ribosomes present on it. Here we can see the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. The endoplasmic reticulum helps in the transport of proteins and fats from the outside of the cell to its inner cytoplasm and also from cytoplasm to the nucleus. Okay. Now let us come to the Golgi apparatus. What is the Golgi apparatus? Golgi apparatus are the flattened disc-like structures present inside the cell cytoplasm which helps in enzymatic reactions because it is the structure which actually secretes all the digestive enzymes within it. It also helps in the formation of sperm, which is a very important function of the Golgi apparatus. Now, let us come to the mitochondria. We have all heard the term ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which helps in providing energy to any living organism. Mitochondria produces the ATP within it because it contains its own DNA. The mitochondria, which is this structure, contains some finger-like projections or finger-like structures called the cristae. Mitochondria also secrete some respiratory enzymes within the cell. Now, as we earlier discussed about the rough endoplasmic reticulum, about containing some ribosomes. Now, what is ribosome? Ribosomes are globule-like structures present inside the cytoplasm which helps in the protein synthesis. Remember that it contains RNA and not DNA. Next, let's move on to the lysosome. Now, here you can see a term, suicide bags. Now you will think that does it kill itself? No, lysosome doesn't kill itself, but it kills the other cell organelles present inside the cell because it secretes some digestive enzymes which also helps in intracellular digestions. When exceeds in amounts, ends up digesting all the crucial cell organelles inside the cell cytoplasm. Next, we shall move on to the centrosome. Now, what is centrosome? Centrosome helps in regulating the cell division of a cell. What is cell division, you may ask? Cell division is the formation of the new cell from the pre-existing cell, and centrosome are the basis of cell division. Centrosome is only present in the animal cell and not the plant cell. Centrosome consists of two dot-like structures called centrioles and the spindle fibers around it. And the star-like structures, as you can see here, is known as the asters. Now, let's move on to vacuoles. What are vacuoles? Vacuoles are clear spaces which contains water and minerals and helps in maintaining turgidity of the cell. And remember that in plant cell, the vacuoles are very large, whereas in animal cell, there is almost no vacuole, or even if it is there, it is very small in size. The vacuole is covered by a single layered membrane called the tonoplast. Next comes the granules. What are granules? Granules are nothing but small globules-like structure present inside the cytoplasm which stores food like fat, starch and proteins. Now let us move on to plastid. It is a double membrane structure and contains DNA inside its matrix. It is of three types: chloroplast, leucoplast and chromoplast. This chloroplast you have already heard of. It contains the green colored pigment called the chlorophyll, which ultimately helps in photosynthesis. Leucoplast is a colorless substance which can be found in vegetables like potato. Chloroplast also contains some pigments like carotene, xanthophyll, which gives color to the vegetables or fruits. So you might have noticed that I was only discussing about the vegetables and fruits because plastid is only present in plant cell and not in the animal cell. So these are all the cell organelles that you need to remember. I've noticed few organelles are only present in plants while few organelles are only present in the animals. From there you can easily determine the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell if asked to you. For example, plastid is present in plant cell and absent in animal cell. Centrosome is present in animal cell and absent in plant. Another thing you need to know the difference between the prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cells are those cells which contains no membrane bound nucleus, and eukaryotic cells are those which contains a membrane bound nucleus. Prokaryotic cells are usually unicellular while the eukaryotic cells are usually multicellular. For the example of prokaryotic cell, it is very easy, that is bacteria, and for eukaryotic cell, humans. On that note, we come to the end of this chapter. Hope you have understood the whole concept of the cell. Thank you for coming.